This is the top 5 offenses for the 2025 fantasy football season. And I have the Lions here. They were the most explosive offense. I mean, they were making NFL teams look like JV squads last year.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, come on. Baker Mayfield was outstanding last year. This team is going to explode. I think this team's going to throw the ball and throw it a ton.
The Bengals have a top 5 fantasy quarterback, 2 receivers in the top 15, then a running back who's a top 10 fantasy running back this season. What's up, everyone? We got another fantasy football video. My name is Drew, and we got the old man back on for today. And today, I want to go over the best offenses for fantasy football, the best offenses to draft fantasy players from, and the offenses I believe will have the most relevant fantasy players from. So this is the top 5 offenses for the 2025 fantasy football season. And we're going to do 5 to 1. We have our rankings. I'm excited to hear your rankings.
I'm excited to do this too. I'm just getting ready for the fantasy football season. I'm so excited that it's just around the corner, getting ready. So I had fun trying to studying and, picking 5 teams that you can use a lot of players on.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I'm going to start off with number 5. I have the Bills here. Josh Allen, I mean, he's great. He has scored 22 points per game 5 straight seasons. He was a top 2 fantasy quarterback last year. He has that 10-plus rushing touchdowns upside. That's huge for fantasy, considering rushing touchdowns are 6 points rather than passings, 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
James Cook, who had a really good year last year. He had 18 total touchdowns last year. So he took a big step last year. Then Khalil Shakir, who was a very underrated receiver. Like, no one was talking about the Bills having a good receiver, but he was a good flex play all year last year. And Keon Coleman, who was a second-round pick last year, he showed flashes that he could be in line for a breakout year this year, and he could be a deep sleeper for your leagues. Then Dalton Kincaid, who everyone was high on, he showed flashes.
Yeah.
Could he be the next young stud tight end? But he let people down last year. He got injured a little bit. He could be due for a breakout year. So that's why I have the Bills at number 5 for me.
Yeah, that's a very good team. You're right. You can't go wrong with the number 1 quarterback in fantasy football, Josh Allen. Like you said, James Cook is another outstanding running back. He did have a great year. He had 18 touchdowns. That's phenomenal. The receivers are going to have to start to get it going to be an impactful wide receiving core there. Shakir had his moments out there as far as, putting up fantasy points. I agree. And tight end, Kincaid was a bust last year, but I think they get him going this year. Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with that team is having a lot of fantasy relevant players on it. I agree with that. Not a bad team to pick. I'm going to go with the Super Bowl champs of last year. I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. This team is loaded. I think they're going to be a phenomenal offense. They got Jalen Hurts, who is up there with Josh Allen as far as scoring points, rushing, upside galore. He loves the one tush push, getting into the end zone. He still has that.
Didn't get banned this year.
That's right. So, he has that capability. I mean, he's projected, over 300 points for the year. He's a top 5 QB, fantasy QB in my mind. So he's a guy on that team. Now you got Saquon Barkley in town. He had an outstanding year last year. I think he's going to have another outstanding year. He's definitely a 1 or 2 top running back in the league. I think he might even be in the top 5 as far as your fantasy pick team in the first round. So there's 2 studs. Then we're going to get into the receivers. A.J. Brown, who's another stud. I think he's projected about 250 points, coming into this 2025 season. I think he's going to do very well. As you can tell, he's their number 1. Outstanding receiver, great hands, big-bodied guy. good speed. If he can stay healthy, he's going to have a phenomenal year. I agree. You got Devonta Smith as another receiver who I think will take that step forward and be another outstanding receiver. So they got solid receiving core for Jalen Hurts to distribute the ball around. Tight end is another flexible playing tight end guy, Dallas Goedert, who's a solid tight end. Some games he's up, some games he's down, but he's a solid player. I think the Philadelphia Eagles are loaded on the offensive side.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a good pick for sure. So we're going to hop to number 4. And I have the Lions here. They were the most explosive offense. I mean, they were making NFL teams look like JV squads last year. They beat the Titans by, I think it was 100 points. But they just have so many weapons on this team. But I'm a little worried about how good they'll be without Ben Johnson, since he's with the Bears this year. Jahmyr Gibbs, I believe he has a chance to be RB1 this season. We saw it towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
He was cooking, and he won a lot of people some fantasy championships.
Yes.
I think David Montgomery is going to take a little more back seat this year. I think Gibbs is going to get 60-40 snap share. Then Jared Goff, who had his career year, I think he'll take another step back. He's going to be a serviceable fantasy quarterback, but then you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's definitely one of the best fantasy receivers, the slot god. 3 out of the 4 seasons, he's been a top 5 fantasy receiver. So I expect him to be 5 to 10 range. So you can't go wrong with the Lions offense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And Jameson Williams, who has taken a big step every year, and I expect him to take another leap this year. So big play. J-Mo, I think.
Yeah, I think he's a sleeper. He's a breakout sleeper for this year. I agree. I'm gonna go along the lines with you. I'm gonna stick with Detroit Lions, like you said. Jared Goff is capable of a top 10 QB. He facilitates the ball. He puts up big points. He's projected, close to that 300 mark. He's a serviceable QB, but he does facilitate the ball. Jahmyr Gibbs, you're right about that. He takes that step forward. He is their number 1 running back. Montgomery does retrogress, steps back a little bit, back seat, like you said, from Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is explosive. I think this is his season right here where he puts up big numbers. I got him about 250 for the season projection. 250 to anywhere to 290. I mean, he's going to be in a top 5 running back position here because he can catch the ball.
Right.
That's where he's so important. He catches the ball. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a top 5 receiver, Mr. Reliable on his team. They look for him all the time. He gets a lot of targets, target hog on this team. He's going to put up another solid season. And you got J-Mo, like you said, Jameson Williams, who is a great player.
Yeah.
And I think he takes that step forward too. Plus, I think Sam Laporta, who had a kind of a down year for Detroit, he's a playable tight end. I think he's a top 5 tight end. So like you said, Detroit is loaded on that offensive side, and you want a piece of this puzzle. Jared Goff, I think, with Amon-Ra St. Brown is a good, stack to have. So I agree with Goff being as a good stack. You get him in the later part of your draft, he puts up big numbers for you.
For sure. All right, number 3. I have the Buccaneers here, actually. They have so many weapons if you truly think about it. Baker Mayfield, I'm high on this year. He's been balling out the past 2 seasons. Back-to-back 4,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. And he's got 2 proven 1,000-yard receivers with Mike Evans, who gets it damn near every year. He's going on year 12, and he'll probably get 1,000 yards for you. Chris Godwin, who was dominating last year, he was receiver 2 till week 8. I mean, the value there was unbelievable, so he's coming back. Jalen McMillan, who was a rookie last year, he stepped up. He put up 20-point games for your teams. Then they drafted Emeka Ibuka, who Baker has been praising all off season that he's poised for a big year in his rookie year. They got Bucky Irving in his rookie season, averaged 14 a game, and Rashad White, who 2 years ago finished as a top 10 fantasy running back. So he has upside too. So for me, that's five guys that could impact your fantasy teams.
Yeah, I agree with that. So to stay in an order situation, I'm going to go because I do have Tampa Bay as another team, but it may be a little higher. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens, who obviously Lamar Jackson is a must-have quarterback. He can do it all. Projected about 350 to plus fantasy points this season. He's Derrick Henry is another stud, still putting up big numbers. He had over 16 rushing touchdowns last year. I mean, this guy outperformed where he was drafted last year, and I think he's going to continue to put up big numbers for you. You got to have him. Zay Flowers is going to have another nice year for Baltimore Ravens. He's projected slightly over 200 points, I think, for this year in the receiving. I think he takes another step forward. He's starting to show flashes that Zay Flowers is a worthy top 15 receiver. I don't think he's there yet, but I think he's close. I think he's in that top 20 range, real borderline there.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews, who I think is and still a good tight end. He's in the top 5 as far as the tight ends goes. He's going to have another good season. So I'm high on the Ravens because this offense can move the ball. And with Lamar Jackson, they put up offensive points for you. Yeah. So I'm going to stick with Baltimore Ravens as my, I guess I would say, third ranked team.
Yeah, no, that's a very good team there. So number 2 here, you had him at 5. I have him here at number 2. The Eagles, the Super Bowl champs. Saquon Barkley leads the Eagles here for me. The 2,000-yard rusher, RB1 last year. I expect him to have another great fantasy season because the Eagles, they just reload. Like, they'll lose a free agent, then they'll pick up another great or draft someone great offensive line. Still got Lane Johnson leading the way for them. Then A.J. Brown had a bit of a down year last year for A.J. standards. He missed a couple games, and you remember that drama with Hurts and A.J. Brown that they didn't like each other?
Yeah.
Well, they won a Super Bowl, so they must like each other a little bit.
Right.
So
right.
I think A.J. bounces back and could finish as a top 6 to 8 receiver. And he's getting drafted in the second or third round. I mean, that's awesome value for a guy that has upside. And we know A.J. Brown is a damn good player. And Jalen Hurts, I mean, with the push not getting banned, he's going to get 10 easy rushing touchdowns this year. So you love that for fantasy-wise. Like you said, he's a top 5 fantasy quarterback. Devontae Smith, one of the best receiver 2s in the league, and he's a good flex play at worst case scenario for your fantasy team. So Dallas Goedert, who's also a serviceable tight end. They just have so many elite options for fantasy. So that's why I have the Eagles at 2.
I agree. I mean, like you said, I would almost put them up at 2 as well. I mean, when I went through and I picked some of these teams, I kind of didn't put them in the order that I wanted to, but I went with top 5 teams anyway. Well, let's get back to it. So my other team I want to talk about is you talked about them, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, come on. Baker Mayfield was outstanding last year. This team is going to explode. They are loaded at the receivers. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield. 40 touchdown passes last year. That's incredible. And all they did was bolster their wide receiving core with Mbuka from Ohio State, who I think he is going to have a phenomenal rookie season. They got Old Faithful Mike Evans, who I don't see any slowing down in this guy. That's 1,000 yards, 200 fantasy plus points for the projection of this season. You got to have him. Chris Godwin, who started out, like you said, last year is amazing, who is going to, I think, carry on. I think this team's going to throw the
Yeah.
ball and throw it a ton.
Yeah.
So I love the receivers. This is a stack. This is a major stack team right here.
Yeah.
I don't care who you get as a receiver. They're going to put up fantasy points with Baker Mayfield. I like this team a lot. Plus, they got Bucky Irvin, who made that step forward. He kind of took Rachaad White's position.
Right.
But Rachaad White is still a good backup, a bench player in case Bucky Irvin goes down. Bucky Irvin's another, a very good running back that can catch the ball out of the backfield. I have him projected just under 200 points at the RB position. So I think he's worthy of picking up too. But, the incredible value that you're going to get on Baker Mayfield, he's got to be mid to late round picks.
Yeah.
So I think this team is going to be explosive. Forgot tight end Cade Otton, who's not too fancy relevant, but he's a decent play.
Yeah.
If you're looking around and you draft the tight end late, I think he's worthy of picking up. So I like Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they're going to continue and have an explosive year this year. Sure. I think they're going to put up big numbers. And then Emeka Egbuka is going to have a great rookie season.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. All right, so number one, the best fantasy offense is the Bengals. They have two elite receivers with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Jamar should be the first overall pick in your leagues this year. He has the highest scoring potential from receivers with over-the-top shots, the run-after-catch ability he has, and how many times did he score over 40 points last season? Yeah, let's be honest.
Amazing.
Unreal. And T. Higgins, who also had a really good season and had an awesome Week 17 performance against the Broncos. He saved me. He gave me a championship. So I got to shout him out. He had 11 catches, 131 yards, and 3 touchdowns. It was T's career year in fantasy. He averaged 18 points per game. He only played 12 games, so there's some health concern. But still, when T. Higgins is on the field, he is a great fantasy play.
Yeah.
And they have Chase Brown, who was the most consistent fantasy running back from Week 9 to Week 17. He averaged 20 a game, and he maybe went undrafted in leagues. This year, he's definitely getting drafted.
He's on the radar.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, so, and Joe Shiesty, you can't, he's unreal. Probably the third best quarterback in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Everyone knows how good Joe is. So the Bengals have a top 5 fantasy quarterback, 2 receivers in the top 15, I would say so. Then a running back who's a top 10 fantasy running back this season. So that's just elite players at all positions. So you got to have the Bengals at number 1.
I have them as well. I agree with you. Joe Burrow had almost 5,000 yards passing, 43 touchdowns. The last 5 game stretch, he averaged almost 300 yards a game, 9 TDs over the last 5 games. Joe Burrow is going to explode. They finished, on a tear. The last 5 games of the season they won. They started off kind of slow, as far as the season went. The last 5 games they went on a tear. Joe Burrow is going to have an outstanding year. You're right. He's a top 5 QB, must-have QB. I'm going to label him as. Chase Brown is just under 1,000 yards rushing, 65 targets, 54 receptions. You love that, right? This guy in the last 5 games of the season as well was a top 5 RB. Must have running back. He's going to be drafted fairly early, the mid rounds, round 4 or 5, I would think he would fall into. I would definitely reach to get him. He's a great player. I think he's going to have a breakout season this year again. And like you said, the 2 receivers, this is what you want, right? Jamar Chase is going to be either your overall number 1 draft pick this year or 2. He shows that he's the best receiver in the league right now. Put him with one of the best quarterbacks. Another outstanding year. He had 175 targets last year with 127 catches, 1,700 yards, 17 touchdowns. What a big year he had. T. Higgins only played 12 games, and the guy managed to have 109 targets, 73 catches out of 12 games. That's pretty good. I think he is definitely showing that he's a wide receiver one.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you draft this guy, he is one of your wide receiver ones to play.
Yeah.
10 TDs. This team is loaded. I want a piece of, I definitely want to stack this team.
No,
this
no doubt.
This team is probably the most explosive projected scoring team coming into this 2025 season. You're right. I love Cincinnati. Must have players on this team.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, guys, that's going to wrap up. That was a lot of fun. Comment down what we got right, what we got wrong, or just who are you high on? We'd love to hear from you guys. Want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please give the video a like and subscribe if you're new. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.